This image that you see was drawn by Amelia, who is 6 years old. Amelia was one of the participants of the Peace is Sweet project that was organized by the Muslim Youth Ambassadors of Peace. So in this project, my co-peace ambassadors got a few kindergarten children to draw peace messages. So there was like sweet packages where these messages were put into postcards. Amelia's was quite unique and it caught my eye. Amelia's was not an ordinary peace message. It's not like people of different colors and races holding hands. Amelia's had a chocolate head, had a peach head, and had a coffee head. Sorry, this is chocolate head. Yeah. And I was wondering, why would a child put these kind of images in a peace message? What was she trying to say? She wasn't just talking about, being together. She was sending a bit deeper message. So I thought through. She said, if we can love chocolate and peaches and coffee, we can love people of all nature. She was trying to talk about being different, yet being inclusive. So when I became a peace ambassador last year, I was searching for, peace is not everything that is said at the macro level. Yes, everybody's doing it, but there's something more deeper about peace, something within. And I realized inclusive society is what will give you the answer to creating peace. And I thought about what then is creating the problem of peace, what is deterring inclusive society. Terrorism, the unauthorized, unofficial use of violence to pursue an ideology. Any ideology, political, religious, whatever it is. And our generation, we have been haunted by terrorism, religious extremism for quite some time. And this year, we have faced so many series of attacks that we are disturbed. We live in fear. We are worried. How many of you here like to travel? Yeah, me too. Almost every other weekend I can get. You know what? It's so scary to travel these days. If you love to travel, you should read this news article. It was in Straits Times. It tells you how to travel savvy and vigilant. Some of our peace ambassadors, we do spread messages. When you're traveling, keep your embassies involved. Because you know why? We're so worried. Anytime, anywhere, any attack might just happen. Didn't we see that this year? Why is this happening? Why, despite of so many global initiatives, do we still have terrorism growing? What is contributing to it? It can't just be the political warfare going somewhere around the world. Something is fueling it. Then I look to sources. 1,000 individuals from Southeast Asia have been recruited by ISIS, a terror group quite a lot of us are familiar with. This happened early this year. Just this month, a Singaporean was arrested under the Internal Security Act for supporting ISIS. Why are these individuals supporting a group that would promote violence, that would allow self-immolation? Why? What's making them do that? Well, these are individuals who are self-radicalized. See, self-radicalization happens when an individual takes a very extreme view about an ideology or idea. So extreme that anything that opposes it or anything that conflicts it, they will be aggressive towards that. So much so, they would then hesitate to kill. But you see, radicalization, it's a mental health issue. It's something that happens in the mind. And I studied through, so how does a person get radicalized? And according to experts, well, no friends, no mentors, nobody around them, nobody to turn to. There's probably a kind of isolation that happens. See, social isolation is one of the key factors that creates self-radicalization. There's nobody around them. And social isolation, I do not mean social isolation where you decide to take a break from everybody because it's overwhelming. Over a period of time, at a very unhealthy, high level, social isolation happens. So, for example, if we have friends here and somebody new comes here, any coincidence of people leaving or death, totally coincidence. I didn't mean for this to represent anyone in particular, although we share the same color dress code. So when someone new comes here, what happens? Do you know what's the first thing we tend to look at people when we note them? Any idea? Well, science says that race and gender is the first thing we tend to note. It's a primitive tendency, for human beings to classify things according to a certain group so that we are able to process, who is this person? How do we know who is this person? We start looking at, how are they different from us? Oh, okay, they wear differently, they're different skin color, maybe they are from this part of the world based on what we have been educated with or we have learned. And then the good thing is if all of them can get along. But if they don't, what happens is an outgroup is created. This person is either excluded or excludes themselves because they just don't fit in. You know that feeling when we go to the new office and everybody is alike and you just don't seem to fit in? And then what you think? Oh, you don't want to try too hard. You move away. Because it's so difficult to learn so much of difference. It's just easier, for us to do what our ancestors did. Social classifications. So if we don't fit in, it's just okay. We look for someone who's so. But the problem comes when that click doesn't happen. We cannot find people who are similar. So imagine individuals who are in countries where people tend to be alike and you really tend to be different. That differences creates an opportunity to become self-isolated over a long time. And that social isolation is actually fueling the self-radicalization, which is creating the growth of terrorism throughout the world. So if you are wondering why since 1990s to now we're still talking about terrorism, is because this problem has not been tackled. What is the solution? What can we do about it? What can you do about it? What can I do about it? We need to first understand the human development. This is Braun Ferrer's ecological framework for how humans develop. So we are surrounded by degrees of circles, that influences, shapes our character. So the macro system that you see at the top is actually the most outer. Your history, your social environment, your geography. And then the microsystem, it's the most important part. You need to focus on that. The microsystem is actually your family, your interaction, anything that you immediately face, those that can influence you, shape your thinking, shape your character. Now this microsystem, I guess you can guess, it's hollow for someone who's socially isolated. There's a gap there. It's not means there's nobody there physically, but intellectually, mentally exchanging, there's nobody there. And that's when it becomes easy for terror groups to reach out to them. See, we are human beings. We are social beings. We want to belong with people. We want to be part of something. We need a purpose. Otherwise, it becomes meaningless for us. And when socially isolated, you kind of become soulless in that way. And that's how. And these individuals in the microsystem is hollow and nobody's there. The terrorists get to them. How do you think it happens? It's not your, walkie-talkie secret-coded way. It actually happens through social media. Twitter faces quite a challenge. Almost 50K to 70K Twitter accounts support ISIS. And, Twitter is the way to identify the like-minded social isolator who are looking for purpose. And you use religion, politics, nationality, food, coffee, whatever, to get to them. Do you know how the messages look like? This. Community service. Look at the words. Don't forget your brothers and sisters. Trusted brother. Look at the emotional triggering way of speaking. It gets confusing. You might actually notice some messages could sound like that and they're perfectly safe. It's very difficult. Imagine a 16-year-old who's looking at this message, who's confused. He lives in a land where he has no friends, nobody, he feels alone. What happens? This becomes like, the connection point. A brother, a sister, very strong words, very strong words. It becomes very difficult to actually work against that kind of influence, doesn't it? Peer pressure, who is not victim to it? And then the stage 2, it's when they start recruiting. And that's when you have many of people around the world traveling across a one-way ticket to Syria and many other countries that promote self-radicalization. How do I solve this? I thought through. I'm a peace ambassador. I can't just keep the title and not do something about it. But what can I do about such a global issue? So again, I look to my microsystem. Why am I not self-radicalized? Why do I feel I'm not socially isolated? Then I looked at my microsystem and I see this. That is Kevin and that's Tina. See, these are the friends that I have. They're not just friends. They're multicultural. They're from different backgrounds. We share a common space and time, but we're different. And because I have friends like that, I'm able to take difference very lightly. Let me share you a story. This is Benjamin Leong. We call him Ben. And Ben and I, well, when we started off in school, yeah, we did that race and gender. All right, you're different, I'm different. And then it just came that certain things like studying together and all just came and we got to know each other. So last year, we traveled together to India. So Ben came. It was part business, part social. That opportunity was created by us. And then, so Ben comes, I invite him over to family, have dinner. Ben starts seeing everybody eating with Han, and he starts eating with Han. I noticed Ben's ability to actually tear through differences and mingle in very easily. And he made himself home. And then he even commented about it. He said, when you go to the other culture, be one of them. And he talked about it. He was welcome about it. Ben was one of those people who showed me how you respect and appreciate diversity. And according to the United Nations, this is one of the elements that creates the inclusive society. You see, that's also a problem. We all talk about respecting and appreciating diversity. Do we realize, are we doing it? What about your workplaces? Do we have festive gatherings every time? What about your homes? Do you sit down and talk with your kids? Oh, how was this? Do we make how was celebration in homes? Or do we talk about respect and appreciation for diversity in the way that the message should reach the character? No, because these are not things that just happens ad hoc, does it? So we need to engineer it. We need to know that these are times where these kind of values need to start surfacing to a priority. So respect and appreciation of diversity is important anywhere, everywhere, right now. It becomes so important. It's not about seeing beyond differences. That's a lie, I feel, We're all different. We have to accept it. Everybody here is different. We have to accept we are different. So what we need to be saying is that, no, let's look at similarities. We're neglecting the differences then. So what we do, we say, no, you're different, I've got to respect that. How do we put the differences and make things more creative? How do we provide solutions? How do we use that differences to our advantage? I think that's what is mixing. And if you remember, this has to start from a micro level within each of our microsystems. Mentors is one of the best ways, I think. See, mentors are people who are not related with you directly, but have a strong influence on you. And they might have the positive influences. I see many, many talented people here today, and I was networking. I think each of you can be a mentor. But that doesn't mean you start looking around for troubled people and think you can be a mentor. No. You can be a mentor by just interacting and kind of seeing whether the exchange of ideas can help someone who's in the growing stage, just realizing themselves. Mentorship has helped me a lot. I've got mentors, a few of them in many different ways. In fact, Melanie Cook has become a very good mentor. So mentorship is actually very important. Family engagement. If you're not sitting at home in front of your kid and talking about some of the global affairs, some of the national affairs, and how that impacts that child and what's happening around them, then you are not creating the right atmosphere for a child to create that inclusive society. Family engagement is important. I work with a lot of parents because I try to create awareness about self-radicalizations. And it kind of upsets me when a parent says, I don't know what my son is doing online. It's difficult. No, I'm not asking you to intrude privacy of your child. But no, talk to them what's happening online. Teach them how to handle hate speeches, viral videos that tells you a certain group of people of a certain nature tend to be violent. Speak about it at home. Family engagement is one of the most key areas of microsystem. Critical thinking. If you get a news that tells you, a particular group of people are doing something, inquire into it. Are you sure that it's coming from the right source, right people? Is there a political agenda to it? Is the facts correct? Is it interpreted correctly? Promote critical thinking with your mentors, with your colleagues and everybody. Together with all this, we can create a milieu inclusive society and we can pass it on. It's you and I who need to do something about it. And I hope you will join me in this mission to do so.